All right, in this video, we're going to go over some of the most popular towns in and around the Calgary area. There's 5 of them that I think you could consider if you really want to live maybe close to Calgary, but in a town that maybe has lots of amenities and things to do. And I'm going to go over some of the pros and the cons of these towns, and we're going to talk about some of the pricing in these towns. And hopefully, by the end of this video, you'll be able to make a decision if one of these towns might work for you. Well, let's first talk about Okotoks. And I love Okotoks. I've been there so many times, and I've helped a lot of people over the years buy and sell homes in Okotoks. It's this cool little town nestled just south of Calgary, and it's really not too far. Interestingly enough, you can take McLeod Trail all the way out, or you can take Stony Trail. They meet up, and then you can get out to Okotoks. Only takes probably about 15-20 minutes from the very southern end of the Calgary city limits. And it's nestled in this area on the foothills of the Rockies, right along the Sheep River, which is kind of cool to have a river running through it. It has a really nice little downtown for shopping. If you just want to mosey around there, that's fantastic. You know, so you can just spend the afternoon along the Sheep River and do shopping. It does have a Costco and all the other good amenities, especially on the southern half of Okotoks. This town, I don't know when they built it if they really thought it would grow to the level it has gone. So getting around, I would say, has a little bit of a negative in the sense that, you know, not that there's traffic jams, but just the flow of getting around isn't necessarily the best. That's probably the only negative I'd say for Okotoks. But that being said, there's a really good mixture of, you know, older homes and a lot of newer developments that are there. And for people who are really into horses, you can have your horse boarded somewhere close by. There's so many different boarding areas around Okotoks, so for the horse people, that's a real positive. Now, as far as pricing goes, Okotoks is actually a little higher than maybe you thought. $650,000 is the benchmark price for a detached home, $527 for an attached property, $380 for a row house, and $243 for a apartment condo. Sometimes ask me, well, why is it $650,000 to own a detached home in Okotoks if I'm driving, you know, 15 minutes south of the city to get there? Well, you know, there's no exact science to explaining this. I mean, keep in mind, all properties are worth what somebody is willing to pay. And I think my philosophy, or my theory is that after COVID, there's so many people, you know, working from home. A lot of people did move out of the city and decided, you know what, we're going to do a hybrid, or we're going to work from home, and we can be a little further out and maybe have this quality of life that to them might be better than living in the city. And I think that's what drove some of the pricing, because since COVID, there's actually been a surge of real estate going up in these smaller towns, whereas it used to be back in the day, it was cheaper to go a little bit further out. But I think at the end of the day, if you can make living in Okotoks part of your lifestyle, and you really would like to be south of the city, I think it's actually worth the extra money to be there. If you do like these videos, do me a huge favor. Just go ahead and like it, which would be great. You can subscribe to it, and of course be notified if you hit the bell button whenever these videos come out, because I do them every week. Well, then there's Chestermere Lake, which is really interesting because I remember as a kid, Chestermere was actually a long ways from Calgary. Well, it's not so far from Calgary anymore. You can actually get there pretty quick. But you know, the real draw to Chestermere is obviously the lake. And you can put a boat on the lake, which is unlike what you can do in the lake communities in Calgary. So if you like to do the boating, the water skiing, and towing the kids around on the tube, well, that's what Chestermere is all about. And that's really what draws people out there. It is a very, very family-oriented community. And I'm happy to say that they put in some good shopping finally. It was way overdue, but now they actually have a strip mall, and they've got restaurants, they've got Safeway, they got all kinds of stuff there that you can actually get amenities. You don't have to go back into the city, but if you need to, you can go right down 17th Avenue, go to right on the border of Stony Trail and 17th. There's a lot of shopping right in there, easy access. What I like about Chestermere is there's a lot of really new homes, and you'll find that they're fairly big homes, which is why there is a higher sale price for detached, because the median is $751,800. For an attached property, it's $535. For a townhouse, or otherwise known as a row house, 326, and 212 for apartment condo. So for the most part, it's fairly affordable, and don't let the 735,000 scare you. That is because there's a lot of bigger houses. You can get into some smaller houses for less money than that in Chestermere as well. So if you want that beautiful lake lifestyle, I suggest having a look at Chestermere. All right, now we're heading up north to go to Airdrie. And Airdrie, interestingly enough, when I was, again, growing up, Airdrie was one of those places you did go to specifically to buy a house that was cheaper than Calgary, because it was a long way to go and there really wasn't much there. Well, a whole lot has changed about Airdrie since those days, let me tell you. And you know, one of the driving forces behind all this demand for Airdrie is a tremendous amount of people who were working up north, who either drove to Fort McMurray or took an airplane to Fort McMurray. But there was a tremendous amount of people that just wanted to be accessible to going north. Even WestJet has a ton of employees that live in Airdrie. Pilots, flight attendants, you know, all kinds of people. And of course, there's the airport itself that people live in Airdrie because they work at the airport. So you can see the demand started really filtering in as time went by. And then Balzac, which is right dead center between Airdrie and Calgary, started to grow. They put in the Cross Iron Mills Mall. You know, they put in all kinds of extra shopping and amenities in between both Airdrie and Calgary. And then to add it all off, they put more shopping in Airdrie and made all the amenities really attractive. And the other cool thing about Airdrie is it has the canals. They got these cool waterways running through. You can skate on them in the winter, you know, or you can even just walk around on them in the winter as well. In the summertime, you can take maybe a kayak out and kayak down them. Pretty cool that Airdrie offers that. Really good mixture of what I would consider to be starter homes in Airdrie, all the way up to luxury homes, which are right in Coopers, which is a really luxurious area of Airdrie. As far as pricing goes, $597,000 is the benchmark price for a detached house, which is not bad because you get a pretty good, nice house for that price. $465,000 for an attached property, $335,000 for a townhouse, and $241,000 for an apartment-sized condo. So we still got really good value, but similar to like Okotoks, once you're in Airdrie after you get off work, if you're there, you don't have to go back into the city for anything. It's really all there. All right, let's visit the town of Cochrane. And by the way, Cochrane is the fastest growing city in Alberta right now. It's crazy what has happened with Cochrane. All you have to do is get on Highway 1A, which connects to Crowchild Trail, and head right out, and you get the most amazing mountain views as you drive out to Cochrane. And as you're approaching Cochrane, you'll see it's just spectacular because you're at the highest elevation and it looks down over the golf course around Glen Eagles. You can see that with the majestic mountain views in the background. And as an added bonus, the Bow River flows right through. Now, what I love most about Cochrane is I do love the rolling hills. There's a lot of walkout basements in Cochrane. So if you really like walkout basements, you could find a property that has one. So that's a real bonus. The town itself, there's all kinds of amenities. There's a beautiful rec center. They just put in a new bridge that connects some of the newer part of Cochrane into Riversong, which I like. So there's not just one bridge now because it was getting a little congested. They have found approval. There's a four-way stop in Cochrane that I would say was a negative. That was probably the negative I was gonna say for Cochrane, because you can get a pretty sizable traffic jam coming in at 5 o'clock after the workday is done. But they've got a massive project to improve that four-way stop. So there'll be a little pain until that gets done, but probably worth it. It's a really nice community to live in. The downtown has some really cool shopping. Of course, there's all the amenities in Cochrane as well. Actually, there's a cool ice cream shop that I like to go to too, which I highly recommend going to. But overall, you know, it's just, again, that small town feel with all the amenities, but a really short drive to Calgary. The real added bonus, if you're into the mountains, of course, you can get right out to Highway 1, hit Canmore, 45 to 50 minutes, well, depending how fast you drive, although I do recommend staying under 120. There's a lot of cops on that highway, by the way. Little tip for you. But overall, I would say Cochrane definitely is one of my favorites in and around the Calgary area. As far as pricing goes, well, you're gonna have to pay a little more too. Not quite as high as Okotoks. $624,000 is the benchmark price for a detached house. $465,000 for attached. $402,000 for a townhouse. A little more than all the others. $265,000 for a condo. So it's still affordable place to be, and the quality of life, fantastic. All right, let's talk about Canmore, which is, I mean, hands down, Canmore would be the most desirable place to live for most people. You know, it is almost an hour out of Calgary, so I mean, it's a commute, right? I mean, but amazingly enough, there's about 800 people a day that commute into Calgary every day for that lifestyle. It's kind of crazy, but people do because it's Canmore. You're right nestled in the heart of the Rockies. It's a beautiful, beautiful city that offers so much to do. Who really wouldn't want to be there? Well, lots of people want to be there, and it's expensive. So I'll get to the money side in a minute. But first of all, this is for the people who haven't been to Canmore. And I know if you currently live in Calgary, you've definitely been there because everybody who lives in Calgary goes to Canmore. But if you haven't been to Canmore before, you need to take a look at this town. It is remarkable because even if you don't decide to move there, you're going to want to visit there. The Bow River runs right through. You've got vista mountain views absolutely everywhere. Kayaking, paddleboarding, mountain biking, skiing in the winter, cross-country skiing, kayaking down the Kananaskis River. There is a different hike every single day of the year. You'll never get tired of it. So it offers so much. It's actually one of the reasons people even move to Calgary because the mountains are so close. Now, here's the catch. You want to be in Canmore? You're going to have to pay for it, unfortunately. There are people that get sticker shock when they come to this town. The median or benchmark price of a detached house is $1,460,000. Yes, you heard me, $1,460,000. For a semi-detached, it's $1,218,000. For a row house, it's $1,500,000, and for an apartment condo, it's a whopping $664,000. So you can see that for the average person, those prices are kind of unattainable, and you might say, wow, that's expensive. But that's what happens when you've got such a highly desirable area and not really a lot of real estate to meet the demand. And people, of course, buy in Canmore from all over. People in Edmonton, Red Deer, Calgary, even internationally into the States. So it's not just a local market. But full disclosure, I actually have the property there, and I've had the benefit of being able to enjoy Canmore for a long time. And I find it absolutely worth it. If you can make it happen, I'm a very good resource. I know the Canmore market inside and out, just like I know the other markets inside and out. I am a little bit of a different agent that way because I've sold real estate all over Calgary and every community within Calgary. So if this video has been helpful, what I want you to do, please like it. That would be awesome if you would do that. Of course, you can subscribe and receive more of these videos as they come out, and you can even be notified by hitting the bell when I put these videos out. Thanks for watching.